A major change taking place at the Social Services Department in Grand Bahama. That story coming up.
The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping the news this evening, inadequate accommodations has been the cry for quite some time, and now the agency responsible for the government social assistance programs is about to undergo a major change. Tonight, Sabrina Brown talks with the Minister of Social Services and Community Development about this new development.
The Department of Social Services on Grand Bahama is in the process of transitioning into new accommodations in the Sun Plaza West Settlers Way. Minister responsible Melanie Griffin says the move is long overdue as clients have to queue up on the outside of the current location in the NIB building downtown to await service.
Social services, they've all grown the area where they are, the different areas, and then the offices have been scattered, so they're bringing them all under one roof, one area. So, and then we're giving them more space. Hopefully, will impact not just the staff but also the clients to make it more comfortable for them.
The minister is hoping this transition will give this vital agency room to expand its services.
In New Providence, you'll know there's a unit for almost every area. Right now, a social worker. They try to do it as best they can to separate the work, but we don't really have, units like that. For example, we do have the Rehabilitative Welfare Services unit, and we have the other outreach centers, but there's no area you could really go to and say, well, this is the senior citizens unit, this is the disability unit, so we don't have it separated like that. And that's one of the things that we want to be able to see happen in Grand Bahama.
She says the demand for social assistance remains high, and the department is working to ensure that the service is given to those who need it most.
There is an assessment. Everyone has to be, assessed. And once you go through that process, it's determined whether you need it or not. Some people just have a misunderstanding. Some people think social services is an entitlement. We find some seniors, when they hit 65, they believe, okay, now it's like national insurance. I'm old age pension. I could go and pick up my benefit. And so we have to explain to them that that is certainly not the case. And then, of course, we have others as well who would try to abuse the system. So we have to always be monitoring that as well.
Minister Griffin says as soon as the telephone system is fully installed, the new location will be up and running. Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Prominent attorney Fred Smith QC applauding the government for its decision to roll back taxes levied in the Customs Management Act last July. Smith says while the removal of taxes is a relief, he says the issue does not end here.
One of the greatest tragedies of the Bahamas.
Attorney Fred Smith says he is pleased that the Prime Minister has made the decision to roll back the new customs and other fees levied in the 2013-2014 budget. He says the Customs Management Act was terrible for business in Freeport, charging that it cost licensees money and also brought into question the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. But despite the Prime Minister's announcement of rolling back the taxes, 14 businesses led by the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce have filed lawsuits for punitive and aggravated damages against the government.
Well, this is a class action by the licensees, headed by the GB Chamber of Commerce. Although only 14 companies have been listed, this is representative of over 3,500 licensees. And if the action is successful, then every single licensee that has paid illegal customs duties will be entitled to have their money refunded with interest from the day they spent it.
But the lawsuit does not just include the government.
The Port Authority has the responsibility for maintaining Freeport. That's why we pay license fees. And that's why the Port Authority is also a defendant in this action, because they have a responsibility to step up to the plate to protect the rights of licensees.
This past Thursday, the Grand Bahama Port Authority released a press statement expressing gratitude to the Prime Minister for his extensive personal attention, stating that rolling back the taxes will assist major entities to expand their involvement in Grand Bahama and create hundreds of new jobs on the island. Smith believes it is important for the Port Authority to become more proactive so Freeport can flourish.
The Port Authority is responsible for the environment, for waste management, for the harbor, for the airport, for bringing airlift in, for promoting tourism, for promoting real estate development, for promoting marinas, for promoting the yachting industry, hotels. That's the Port Authority's job. Make the Port Authority do it. And whoa, it's already in the interests of the Port Authority to do it, because the more the Port Authority has development and growth here, the more they make in utilities, in power, in service charges, in license fees, in harbor dues, in airport departure taxes, because the more activity, the more money the Port Authority makes. And whoa, all that activity is generated by licensees. That creates employment.
Now, we were unable to obtain a comment from the Ministry of Grand Bahama on the legal action, as Minister for Grand Bahama, Dr. Michael Darville, is out of the country. But ZNS News attempted to reach executives of the Port Authority. We did not receive a response up to news time. However, during a press statement issued last week, Port Authority Vice Chairman Sarah St. George noted that the port have worked very closely with the government over the past months to achieve a happy and promising blueprint for future capital expansion in Freeport, noting that it is all in the best spirit of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement and to promote the economic development of Freeport. The Vice Chairman also stated that they have established an amicable framework for close ongoing interaction between the government, the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and stakeholders in Freeport, adding that going forward, she is confident that all discussions will be in the same vein and as productive and as definitive as the decision to roll back the taxes. Now, during the nation's press conference in Nassau earlier this month, the nation's leader says the decision to roll back the taxes is in the best interest of Grand Bahama's economy. In other news, it's been the subject of much debate for the past several days, possible regulations of the church. The matter came to the forefront recently in the nation's capital, and tonight Megan Shepard talks to two local pastors who are examining the pros and cons of such regulation.
Minister of State for National Security, the Honorable Keith Bell, in a recent statement to the press, expressing his views that the government should look into establishing regulations that would govern those who can lead religious institutions in the country. His comments drawing strong reaction on both sides of the issue. Tonight, former Vice President of the Grand Bahama Christian Community, Sidney McIntosh, says that he believes the government should not get involved in regulating churches and that only God can call someone to be a pastor.
I think only God can call pastors, and we have to respect the fact that if someone said that God called them a pastor and been anointed a pastor, we have to respect them as such. But at the same time, if you have been found in the eyes of the laws as other than a pastor, then you should be convicted or dealt with to the full extent of the law. And at that point, with saying who should be pastor and who should not, we should leave that up to God.
McIntosh adds that the church and state should remain separated. He says both the local and national Christian councils already have certain regulations in place.
But I feel deeply when it comes to regulating churches, that should not be in the hands of the government. Church is already regulated by the Bible and by its own laws. And I don't think the government should have any rights to regulate any church or churches in Grand Bahama or in the Bahamas or anywhere else in the world.
Pastor of Kingdom Worship Center International, Bishop Kermit Saunders, says that having a regulatory board may help bring out some benefits to the Christian community, but that the government should not be involved.
I believe persons of our peers, elder spiritual statesmen who is well regarded in our community, who holds the creeds of faith and the conviction of spirituality, across the board, because they're varying denominations, and it should be a body. I don't have a problem, because we need to be accountable, especially on what is being happening in our community. However, I think that the government should stay out of it.
But I do agree there is a lot of mess. There's a lot of pastors who is doing a whole lot of mess, and bringing the morale of the Christian body down very low. There's been a lot of allegations on other things concerning pastors and Christian leaders in not just our community, but in the Bahamas at large, and it's appalling. It's disgraceful. But again, it's the body of Christ, and everybody, no one is perfect. But at the same time, our job is to maintain our integrity and deliver according to God's word.
Both Christian leaders say while the board may not fully eradicate the social ills of today, they believe it may help to bring about more accountability. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
In news from the court, a 25-year-old man accused of indecent assault appearing before Deputy Chief Magistrate Helen Jones today. Frankie Seymour of Wrexham Drive Grassmere subdivision was charged with the indecent assault of a 6-year-old girl. The alleged offense was reported to police on May 10th. Now in court today, Seymour pleaded not guilty to the charge, and he was granted bail in the amount of $3,000. He was ordered to stay away from that 6-year-old girl and will be fitted with an ankle monitoring bracelet. The matter was adjourned to the 29th of July 2014 for trial. Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, returns right after this.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. Police cracking down on various traffic offenses. Officers from the Traffic Division conducting road checks in the areas of East Sunrise Highway in the school zone of Mary Star of the Sea Catholic School and CRS Road yesterday morning. Officers reported issuing 41 fixed penalty notices for various traffic infractions. Tonight, the Traffic Division is again sending an appeal to the motoring public to drive within the designated speed of 15 miles per hour while in a school zone. And this is Nurses Month, and for the past 2 weeks, nurses have been lauded for their invaluable service that they give to the healthcare system and to the country as a whole. As nurses celebrate this observance, these healthcare professionals are also being implored to remain on the cutting edge of knowledge. Nursing advisor with the Public Hospitals Authority, Willem A. Stewart, telling nurses that the only way to achieve this is through education.
We need RNs, but we need specialist nurses, okay? Registered nurses we need, but we need nursing specialists, okay? We have the ophthalmic, we have renal, we have perioperative, we have critical care, and all the other specialties. We now have med-surg, okay? You have to be a specialist nurse. If you want to really be a nurse, really on the cutting edge, you have to specialize. And you need to specialize simply because the doctors are specializing.
Stewart said specializing is the way forward. She believes this could be a huge benefit when it comes to upward mobility.
If there's a medical specialty, it has to be a nursing specialty. And that's the frame of mind that we must get into for nursing to move within the country. We can no longer sit down and wait to say that I'm not going to specialize. I'm just going to wait for my promotion. If you are not specialized in an area, you cannot lead in that area. I'm sorry. So we are looking now at trying to get as many specialties going in the Bahamas as we possibly can. And we have to do it because the Public Hospitals Authority has been given the mandate, has been given the directive to provide quality care.
In other news, the island of Grand Bahama getting set to host a major Bahamian cultural extravaganza. Chunka Fest is set for this Labor Day, Friday, June 6th at the Port Lakai Marketplace. Organizer Sergio Armali says the event, which will feature Bahamian culture at its best, is expected to have a significant impact on the local economy.
Our goal is for it to impact the island of Grand Bahama, okay? With it, there should be an influx of visitors coming in, and visitors, I'm talking about tourists as well as Bahamian locals, okay? We're going to have some of our Bahamian artists as well doing some performances, so that too is going to be a plus for us.
Organizers have teamed up with local stakeholders, including the Grand Lucayan Resort, to host the event. Traditional Bahamian delicacies, as well as arts and craft and other things of interest, will also be featured. He says a major thrust is attracting not just visitors, but the youth of the island as well.
Jungle Promotions, when it was once started, the idea of it was to get the youth of the Bahamas. Although I know we're here in Grand Bahama, but I'm saying the Bahamas. We want to get them involved in what's going on. There's a lot of negativity going on, so this we think is our opportunity to try and inject something positive into what's happening. We want to talk about some of our Bahamian foods. You got fish, conch salad, conch fritters, tart, switcher, you name it. Anything that's dealing with Bahamian culture from way back, this is what we want to showcase with.
And this note, the public is advised that the meeting organized by the Ministry of the Environment and Housing and the Ministry of Agriculture, Marine Resources and Local Government, scheduled for this Thursday at St. Matthew's Baptist Church in Pelican Point, has been postponed. A new date for the meeting will be announced later. Stay with us. Ricardo Lightburn is a check on sports when we return.
Hey everybody, welcome to Sports with Ricardo Lightburn. This one goes out to the guys of the Daiquiri Shack on Cable Beach. Yeah, Polo, Stacy, and Anthony. Pineapple and banana, okay? We want this one for Sheena tonight. Well, here we go. The Grand Key Homecoming and Big Daddy Memorial Fishing Tournament was the best ever, folks. 17 boats fished, and hats off to all the coordinators. The Big Daddy Memorial Fishing Tournament in Grand Key, Abaco celebrated 17 years of great fishing from start to finish. The anglers had a roller coaster of a day fishing from early morning rain to afternoon sunshine. The Whisker Biscuit fished 8 of those 17 years, and this year, Tim Wilson said, he made the cut and second place.
We went towards the west or the east and stayed out of the rain for most of the day, and it got pleasant. Wasn't really pretty, but until 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun came out. It was beautiful.
Looked like you guys talked more smack on the boat than y'all did fishing now.
Well, that wasn't my fault. I had my crew that was running their mouth just a little bit too much, and I told them, I said, you guys talk some serious smack, you got to put up, and they never, they didn't do it, but we got all the species.
The No Worries fished the Big Daddy and enjoyed the homecoming. Trent Glab was all smiles.
This is our third year fishing the tournament, and we try not to miss it. It's a good time and a lot of fun.
It looked like you guys had a family outing too.
Oh yeah, my daughter and nieces and nephews and sister-in-law, brother-in-law, whole crew.
Would it be safe to say you guys be back next year?
We'll be back probably a lot between now and then, but we'll be fishing next year as long as we can get here.
The Electric made an appearance in this year's event, and for Captain Wendell Cooper and his crew, take note, guys.
For 4 years I didn't fish, but I decided to give it a chance this year. So we did well. It was a little hard starting out first, but at the end of the day, we was able to catch all of the category of the fish.
Weird conditions today, rainy, sunny. How'd you guys handle that?
Oh man, we went through it all. We went through the whole rainstorm this morning, and in the afternoon, then it gets sunny that we would be able to bear it out.
The Island Sun won the tournament, Whisker Biscuit second, and the Scorpion third. Folks that took in the tournament and the homecoming had a blast in Grand Key. Well, folks, the Grand Bahama Softball Association opened its season on the weekend, folks, with co-ed at the Plex. Pelican Bay Barracudas had a good one going. They defeated the Portside Stackers 10-8. Brian Davis got the win. The loss goes to Marvin Hudson. And the Immigration Enforcers put away the Coopers Destroyers 11-4. Jermaine Scavala got the win. Robert Cooper tagged with the loss. And the Hugo Braves, they defeated Style All Sharks 21-3. Keel Pinder picked up that win. And the loss goes to Leroy Thompson. Now, as far as fast pitch, will open up on the 30th. Abaco Softball Association play from the weekend. Hopetown Wreckers shutting out the Mississippi Solution 4-0. Ferris Nicholson also had a 3-for-3 game, 3 RBI. Oscar to go roll got the win, gave us some 2 hits and struck out 10 batters. Troy Bullard was tagged with the loss, and the Creator Bulldogs blasted my DNR Sluggers 12-0. Goodness. Now, Nigel Boodle Jr., 2 doubles and a grand slam in this one. Tyler Josie Wells Russell gave us some 2 hits and struck out 12. And the loss goes to my boy Thomas Blanks Kelly through nothing but blanks. Get it right, guys. Well, coaches from the First Baptist Church College in Bradenton, Florida, folks, are taking a look at some local baseball talent on the island. The coaches have been on the island and they've been looking for some players, accompanied by Grand Bahama standout Chavez Young, who is one of those standouts at the institution. The athletic director and a head baseball coach, Gene Reynolds, says that they're impressed with the talent of the Bahamian students and have come in search of some talent for their program.
This is my first time to Freeport. We currently have nine students from the Bahamas in our school right now, and it's our first trip, and we came to see some kids in hopes of, we have several spots for next year, letting kids know who we are, what we're about. There's an opportunity there in finding kids that may want to come over to school for next year. You know, our major goals are growing young men that learn character, integrity, one day are good fathers, good husbands. That's our number one focus. After that, academics is number two. Very important. If the kids don't perform in the classroom, they don't play baseball.
Well, coach of the Flyers baseball club, K. Brian Hanna, was instrumental in bringing the coaches to Grand Bahama, and he is thrilled to have the opportunity to actually deliver on some other athletes.
You'll never see coaches, may never even see a teacher actually give this amount of attention to a child or even the kids who go off to school to the United States. I mean, actually come back here and say, look, hey, Dad, this is your kid. This is what we're doing with him. We want to get more kids over there. We're here to actually pave the way, tell us what we need to do, show us where we need to go. And that is the great thing about what's going on right now. And I really applaud them for that. I wouldn't go on much long, but the showcase that they did was great. But I'd like to give thanks to Pelican Bay, who would have actually supported this event.
7 o'clock tonight at the Bishop Michael London Auditorium, the Bahamas Olympic Committee trying to get you guys ready for the 2014 Youth Olympics. That's in China, so go out and find out why you should be on that team. That's your sports tonight.